market update for November of 2025. We're in December now, and stats have just come out for November in the North Idaho area. This specific video is going to be. It's been an interesting year for sure. Lots of people have been saying that, and my particular business has been going up. As far as business-wise, it's getting busier. And there's a few things that I just wanted to cover and talk about today. So let's dive into some overall stats and get you guys all up to date. So one of the things that we continue to talk about is mortgage rates. So mortgage rates have definitely eased up. We're in the low sixes. Could they break into the fives? Possibly. There's a lot of speculation that they could, but right now, currently, we're in the low sixes, and so that's been giving buyers a little bit more buying opportunity. We've actually seen the payments drop, so an average payment of about $2,800 where people were getting into a new home now has dropped down to about $2,500 per month, $2,530. Inventory is still tight, but improving. So what's that mean? Well, we're seeing more come onto the market, but it's still tight. So when we look at this stuff, there's a few things that we're going to factor in: days on market, new inventory to market, and inventory turnover. So what we do know is that the well-priced homes are still moving. And when I say well-priced, I mean if your house is worth $600,000 and you come onto the market asking $650,000, you're not going to move as quickly as the guy whose home value is $600,000 and he's listing it at $600,000. I've been watching this very interesting trend for the last several weeks, and our monthly supply is matching this trend. So every day I look at new homes on the market, and I look at pended and I look at closed, and the pended inventory, or the new pendeds versus new on the market, is very close, meaning 38 homes come on the market today, 39 homes go pended. Now, what that doesn't account for is about a 32% fallout rate, meaning out of 3 homes that go on the market, one of them, or go pending, one of them is going to fall out. So we're still seeing that right now in North Idaho, but homes are going under contract. And so what that means when homes are falling out, and I could do a whole video. I was thinking about doing that on what has fallen out and why this year for me. But it's a number of reasons, and the biggest reason I will tell you is buyers have more to choose from. Buyers can be more picky right now, and so when they're asking for things in the inspection period, sellers don't want to do them, and buyers walk away from those. So right now, at the end of November, we saw 1,600 homes for sale in Kootenai, or in North Idaho. In September, we saw 507 homes pended, and in November we saw 328. Now, when that compares to 378 closed, we're running real close to that market. But when you look at new listings on the market, 452 homes new on the market in November and 328 pending homes. So that's very close, right? It's not 400 going on the market and 50 going pending. So let's move on to month supply. This one's been an interesting one. We typically hover around 4, 5 to 7, or 4 to 6 months of inventory is a neutral market. and we hit a high in July at 6 months of inventory. So slightly into the buyer's market. But we've been running neutral. I said it's been a weird year. Back in April, we were at 4.4, and in March, we were at 3.9, and we were back down to 4.1. So that means if we stop putting houses on the market today, it would take 4.1 months for everything to sell, even the cruddy ones. And people are getting their money, you know. But we continue to see people going on the market, listed too high, and then running through a series of price reductions, which is why it's stretching out, I think, on some of that month's supply. Showings depending means how many times does a house have to be showed to go pending. And this one's been an interesting trend this year. It's been between 5 and 7, if you really want to break it down. Right now we're at 6. So that means your house has to be shown 6 times on average before it goes pending. Now, if you're sitting on a house that's been on the market for 50 days and you've had 2 showings, there's 3 things that could be wrong with that house, and there's really only one thing that typically you can do to change that. So the location is very important. If you're in a neighborhood, that might not be as attractive as lakefront. Okay, so maybe more attraction to the lakefront. So really hard to move your house, especially if your neighbor has a junkyard out front and he's got 14 cars up on blocks and he's working on the cars, or not working on the cars, which is why they're still on blocks. The second thing is the condition of the house. Now, you might be able to change some of that. Sometimes a little bit of fresh paint, inside, outside, harder to do on the outside, can be beneficial. Sometimes it's just a funky layout of the house, or everything is dated in the house. So you definitely can change things. Will you get the return on your investment? That's the big question for your real estate agent to answer for you. And the third thing is the one that you can change. And this is probably why your house hasn't had enough showings to go pending, and that's the price. And we see this all across the board. I talk to sellers every day. And whether it's my sellers or they're selling something in another state, hey, I just can't get this thing sold. Well, I haven't been to that neighborhood. I don't know that market that well, but if it's on the market that long, you're probably overpriced. So showings depending, rarely do I see a house in our market here get 22 showings and not go pending. So you're going to have about 6 showings before you go pending. And showings per listing, this one's interesting. Showings per listing is 1.9. So if it takes 6 showings to go pending, and the average listing is only getting 2 showings, well, that means you've got to be aggressive with photography, with staging of the house, and with pricing, because your average listing is not getting that many showings and not getting enough showings to go pending. Now, all that to say, our sales price median continues to go up. We're sitting at $575 right now. We have new listings coming onto the market still. Not as many as we saw in the peak of May, which was just over 1,000 homes hitting the market in May. Right now, last month, 452 homes came onto the market, and of those 452, 328 went pending, right? So, and of those 328 that went pending, I can't say that all those, okay? So we had 328 go pending, and we had 378 go closed. So obviously those numbers don't correlate. But the month before, in October, we had 491 go pending, and we had 378 closed. So right about that 65%, 66% of what went pending went closed. So anyways, that's the North Idaho market. We're strong here. If you go on and you're a motivated seller, you can get your property sold, period. If you have some unique things about your house, slight of glowing radiation in the crawl space, you can get your house sold. It's just a matter of, does it make sense for you? And like I said, a lot of those things come down to price. You want more info? Smash the subscribe button. PK knows the way.